Let me say something that might shock you. You're not undisciplined. You're emotionally drained. And no one talks about this because discipline doesn't fail first. Your emotional energy does. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll understand why discipline feels impossible some days and what to do when motivation, willpower, and strength are gone. You wake up with plans. You tell yourself, today I'll be consistent. Today I'll go to the gym. Today I'll work on my goals. Today I'll pray, read, show up. But by midday, you're exhausted, not physically, emotionally. And then the guilt kicks in. You start calling yourself lazy, weak, unfocused, undisciplined. But the truth is, you can't out-discipline emotional exhaustion. This is the part that so many of us miss. We think it's a character flaw, but it's really an energy crisis. We've been running on fumes for so long, we've forgotten what a full tank even feels like. It's a cycle of setting high expectations, feeling drained, failing to meet them, and then beating ourselves up, which drains us even more. Here's what no one teaches us. Discipline runs on emotional fuel, and when your emotional tank is empty, willpower disappears, focus collapses, and self-control weakens. All those old habits you thought you'd kicked, they come roaring back. That's why discipline feels so easy when life is calm and everything is going your way. But it feels absolutely impossible when life gets heavy. You're not broken. You're just tired of carrying too much for too long without any kind of release. Think of it like a car. You can have the most powerful engine in the world, but if the gas tank is empty, you're not going anywhere. We spend all our time trying to upgrade the engine when what we really need is to just refuel. There was a season in my life where I genuinely hated myself for falling off. I had the same goals, the same dreams, the same high standards for myself that I always had. But suddenly, I couldn't stay consistent to save my life. I couldn't get to the gym. I couldn't focus on my work. I couldn't even bring myself to do the things I used to love. And I was so hard on myself. I thought I'd lost my edge, that I'd become weak. What I didn't realize was this. I wasn't failing at discipline. I was suppressing a massive amount of emotion. I was carrying unspoken pressure from work, from relationships, from my own expectations. I was just pushing through the burnout, telling myself to be tougher. I was showing up for absolutely everyone except for myself, and my discipline just collapsed under that immense weight. Because discipline was never, ever meant to replace healing. It can't. Let me break this down simply for you. When you're emotionally drained, your brain's priorities shift. It doesn't prioritize growth anymore. It prioritizes relief. Comfort starts to feel much safer than consistency. Distractions feel necessary, not optional. So you scroll on your phone for hours. You procrastinate on that important project. You avoid the hard conversations. And you do all of this not because you're weak, but because your nervous system is screaming, begging for rest. It's a survival mechanism. Your mind is trying to protect you from what it perceives as a threat, which in this case is more effort, more output, more depletion. So your discipline doesn't just disappear. It goes offline for protection. It is your body's and mind's way of forcing a much-needed shutdown before you completely crash. This is why I always tell people, if you rate trying to build discipline without addressing your emotional fatigue, you'll just keep starting over. It's an endless loop of motivation, action, burnout, and then back to square one. This is also why tools like guided journaling, emotional reset routines, and structured reflection are so powerful. They aren't just fluffy self-help trends. They are practical tools for managing your emotional energy. If you're someone who constantly struggles with consistency, I've linked a simple emotional reset journal in the description. It's nothing fancy, just a straightforward guide that helps you unload what you're carrying inside. It is about creating a space so that your discipline can finally breathe again, and you can get back on track without the self-judgment. So, here's what actually works when you're drained and discipline feels out of reach. First, lower the bar, but don't abandon it completely. Discipline doesn't mean doing everything perfectly. It just means doing something small enough to keep your identity as a disciplined person intact. 5 minutes of work still counts. 1 page of a book still counts. A short walk still counts. Second, address your emotion before you try to take action. Pause and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? And what do I truly need? Sometimes just naming the feeling anxious, overwhelmed, sad is enough to take its power away. Clarity restores energy. And third, and this is the most important one, replace self-attack with self-honesty. Shame kills discipline faster than failure ever will. Be honest that you're tired and give yourself a bit of grace. Even scripture points to this truth. It says, Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Notice it doesn't say I will give you more pressure or more rules or a stricter to-do list. It offers rest, because true strength isn't built by just pushing harder. It's built in the rhythm of effort and recovery. Sometimes the most disciplined thing you can possibly do is to stop pretending you're okay when you're really not. It's to admit you're at your limit and need to recharge. That act of vulnerability and honesty is a huge act of discipline in itself. It's choosing long-term well-being over short-term performance, and that is a powerful choice. If this message feels personal to you, it's because you are definitely not alone in this. A lot of men and women are emotionally exhausted, but are still demanding peak performance from themselves every single day. We live in a culture that glorifies the grind, but it rarely talks about the emotional cost of that grind. That is why I am working on some deeper resources around this very topic. Building emotional resilience, developing mental discipline that lasts, and rebuilding consistency without burning out in the process. If that's something you need, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. And check the description if you're looking for support that goes beyond just this video. There are ways to navigate this, and you don't have to do it by yourself. So let me leave you with this final thought. Discipline feels hard when you're emotionally drained, because discipline was never meant to operate alone. It needs a foundation of emotional health to stand on. So, heal the exhaustion, release the pressure you're putting on yourself, restore your emotional strength. And when you do that, you'll find that your discipline returns, not because you forced it, but because it can finally operate steadily and naturally. If this video helped you, please like the video. If it described you perfectly, comment with the word reset. And if you want more content like this to help you rebuild, you know what to do. Thanks for watching.